Bava Metzia, and we are in Al Zion. If
Uh,
one finds documents of right,
okay, go for it.
one finds documents of divorce, deeds of emancipation of slaves, testaments, gifts, or receipts, he should not return them. For I say that after they were written, he reconsidered, deciding not to give them. If one finds evaluation documents, support documents, Kalitza certificates, refusal, selection certificates, or any act of court, he should return them. If one finds any document in a leather bag or in a case, a roll of documents or a bundle of documents, he should return them. Now, how many constitute a bundle of documents? Three fastened to the one to the other. Rabbi Shimon Gamaliel says if they are one who borrows from three, he must return them to the debtor. If of three who borrow from one, he should return them to the creditor. If one found a document among his documents and he does not know who gave it to him, he must remain with Eliha until Eliyahu comes. If there are receipts among them, he should do whatever is written in the receipts. Um, oh, sorry. Some fines belong to him and some he must announce. These fines belong to him. If he found scattered produce, scattered money, scattered sheaves in a public domain, round cakes of pressed figs, loaves of baker's bread, strings of fish, pieces of meat, pieces of wood brought from the country, pieces of flax, bundles of flax, and tongues of purple wool, these belong to him. These are the words of Reb Meir. Reb Yehuda says anything containing something unusual must be announced. How? He found a round cake and a pot's head was inside it, or a loaf and money was inside it. And Eliezer ben Elazar says all new utensils need not be announced. All right.
Okay, now go to Gimel Tes and you can do those chazaras. Those are the ones from yesterday.
Gimel tests.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, if one deposits a cask with another and its owner has not designated a place for it and it moved it and it broke, if he broke from his hand, then it removed it for his hands. For he is liable for its benefit. He is exempt. If he broke after he put it down, whether he had moved it or for his benefit or for its benefit, it is exempt. If the owner had designated a place for it and he moved it and it broke, whether from his hand or whether after he put it down, he had been moved it for his benefit, he is liable for its benefit. He is exempt. If one deposits money with another and he tied it up along and slung it behind him, or gave it over to his minor son or daughter and locked the door before them inadequately, he is liable, since he did not watch as a showman do, but he watched as a showman do. He is exempt. If he deposited money with a money changer and it is tied up, he may not use it. Therefore, if it is lost, it is not responsible for it. If it is untied, he may use it. Therefore, if it is lost, he is responsible for it. With a householder, however, whether it is tied or untied, he may not use it. Therefore, if it is lost, he is not responsible for it. The storekeeper is like a householder. These are the words of the mayor. Rabbi Yehuda says the storekeeper is like a money changer.
Okay. All right. So now the in the story in Mishnah Yud Beis, we're talking about Shlichat Yad, where the trustee decides that he's going to use the thing for himself, that he's going to take it, that he's going to take it, or he's going to steal it, or he's whatever the case. And the fact is that as soon as he betrays the trust put in him, he loses his status as a shomer and becomes a ganav. Okay, and as soon as he's a ganav, he is liable for any damages that happen to the object. That's in it here. Okay, so there are some subtleties though. How much does he pay if the thing is damaged and if its value changes from the point where he stole it? So here's the Mishnah. Hasholech yod b'pikadon beis Shammai omrim yilke b'chaser v'yaser. Beis Shammai says he's going to come out the worse off whether the item increased in value or decreased in value. He's going to pay the greater amount. Okay, so for example, let's say he was entrusted with a pregnant cow. Okay, and now and then he decides that he's going to use the cow for his own purposes, which he didn't have permission for. He now becomes a ganef, and and the cow gives birth, and the cow dies. So now, first of all, the damage is now that the cow is dead, and he's now responsible because he's a ganef. So does he pay the price of a pregnant cow or the price of a non-pregnant cow? The pregnant cow is obviously worth more. So it says base Shammai, you pay the higher amount. And if it was the other way around, where the cow was not pregnant and became pregnant, became more worth more, then he must pay the price of the pregnant cow still. Okay. Yilke b'chaser v'yaser. Or base Hillel omrim b'shas hotza'a. Now, it says base Hillel, the price is fixed at the time that he stole it. And that is the price that he will have to pay if the item is damaged, lost. Rabbi Akiva Omer kashas hatzaviyah says no, it's at the time of being taken to justice, right? When he's brought into the into Beis Din, um, he Shevach Gazela, um, yeah. So I'm just reading through a commentary over here. Um, Right. So this is so Beis Hillel is saying that actually this is kind of like but Rabbi Akiva is saying uh, like base wait is Yakar Picadon. He's saying that if the price increases, then he's still going to have to pay, like much like Beis Shammai, but he only pays up until the time that he's taken to Beis Din, but not until not for anything that happens to the item after Beis Din. Oh hang on. No, I'm sorry. I'm saying the wrong thing. Rabbi Akiva is saying that you assess the value of the item at the time that it was that he's taken to Beis Din, not at the time of the theft. No, it's not similar to the Beis Shammai opinion. Okay. Hachoshev lishloach yad b'pikadon. What if somebody just thinks that he makes a decision, a firm decision, now he's going to steal the thing. Now, how would you know this? It's because he gets up and says to his friend, that's that thing that I'm looking after for Plony is I'm sick of looking after it. I'm just going to take it and use it myself. Okay. So there he's announced his intention, but he hasn't made a kinyan yet. Can you tilt your computer screen a little bit forward? I'm looking at your forehead.
Can't move that picture down. I don't know why I can't move it down.
There we go. Okay, so
Oh wait, oh, that's not. I don't know. All right, I'm sure.
okay, so Beis Shammai said that from the moment you announce your intention, you're already chayav for as a gazlan. So even if an honest happens to the thing that you're looking after, you're now liable for it. Beis Hillel omrim eino chayav ad sheishlach bo yad. You've got to actually make a kinyan. Like pick it up and do something with it. Shenamar im lo shalach yad bimleches re'ehu. That's the pasuk says if that he must take an oath that he didn't put his make any act of acquisition. Ketzad. Now, how does this work? Hitai sachavis v'natal hemenu revius. So let's say it was a barrel of wine that he was looking after. So he decides, you know what, I feel like having some of my friend's wine. So he takes the barrel and he tilts it so that the water the wine it comes closer to the surface, and then he scoops in a cup of wine that he can then drink. Okay. He is only chayav for that revius of wine that he put into his cup, because tilting is not a kinyan.
Right. Right.
However, higbia and natal hemena revius, if you pick the whole thing up, so that if it's like a smaller barrel, let's just say you could pick it up with one hand and stick the cup in with the other, the hagba is the kinyan. That's
Right.
definitely a kinyan. Okay. And now if the barrel breaks, Mishalim de Meikula. Now he owns the whole thing and he has to pay for the whole thing. Yeah. Um Now next Perek Kazahav. Uh this is talking about when is a kinyan affected. Okay. So um the basic halacha min Torah is that when you come and buy something, if you had as soon as you hand over the money, um, the item becomes yours. But Chazal said they want to. The Chazal decided to make an extra takana that money does not acquire. Why? Because because what happens, let's say you go to a farmer and say, listen, I want to buy all that grain that you've got in your loft. And the farmer says, yeah, no problem. So he hands over the money, and then a fire breaks out in the thing, and the farmer looks at it and says, I don't care, that's not my grain. So he's not going to bother going to put out the fire. Okay, so the Kenyan is only affected when the purchaser makes a Kenyan on the actual item being bought. Now, that's the simple case where it's obvious what's the money and what's the produce. Now, what happens if you are just trading coins, like getting change? So you've got
Right.
gold coins, silver coins, and copper coins. Which one, if you're doing a trade in them, which one acquires the other? So so just to come back to the situation of regular produce and money. So if I hand over the money, the produce is not acquired. But if I grab the produce, as a Kenyan, then I automatically owe the money to the owner because that's the deal. I've made a Kenyan, and that means the money is his. Okay. Now, um, when it comes to gold for silver, which one is the money and which one is the produce? And when we say, and the way we're going to express it is that the produce acquires the money, but the money doesn't acquire the produce. Okay, what's the currency? The currency is the thing that's most usable in the market. And our Mishnah, just to jump ahead, is going to tell us basically that silver is the easiest currency to use in the market. Gold people aren't willing to take so easily because you've got to break it up and sell for people. And copper wears out, so it's not as durable. So silver is the kind of currency that people treat as the real money. So that's why I say hazahav koneh is a kesef because the zahav is the commodity and the kesef is the currency. But kesef ain't a koneh hazahav, but silver does not acquire gold. And nechosh is koneh a kesef ain't a koneh a nechosh. And the same thing is with copper. Copper is the commodity, and silver is the currency. Okay. Maos haraos konas esayafos. If you're changing your coins for bad coins, and I'm not sure why you would do it, but let's say somebody was giving you an extra of the bad money for the face value of the good money. Again, that is the commodity, and the good money is the currency. So Mas Raos Konos Esayafos, Vayafos Enan Konos Esayraos. Asimon. And Asimon, if you remember the telephone, the little telephone tokens we used to have in Israel, that was an Asimon.
Right.
Okay. But actually an Asimon is just an unminted coin. So all it is it's the material value of the coin, not the face value. Okay, so again, asimon is the commodity and the coin is the currency. So asimon kone es matbea, v'matbea ena kone es asimon. Hametaltalin konim es matbea, v'matbea kone es metaltalin. That was actually the first case we said is if you have something movable that can like an animal produce. Okay,
Mhm.
that will acquire the money, but the money doesn't acquire the produce. Okay, the general rule is zeh klal, kol hamitaltalin konin zeh zeh. But when you're bartering, if you have an ox for a donkey, whatever it is, as soon as you pick up one, the other one automatically becomes property of the other.
Right.
Yeah. Ketzad. So Mishnah base dives into some examples. Mashach hemenu peros v'lo nasan lo maos. If he did a Mashiach on the produce but hasn't yet given him the money, Eino yachol lachzor bo. Now it's over. He cannot now come back and say, "Oh wait, I want to back out of this transaction." No, the Paris has become his, and he now owes money to the seller. Nasan lo maos v'lo mashach himenu Paris. But if he gave him the currency first and he hasn't yet done a Mashiach on the Paris, yachol lachzor bo. He can say, "Actually, I've changed my mind. Give me back my money." Aval Amru. מי שפרה מאנשי דור המבול מדור הפלגה הוא עתיד להיפרע ממנו שאינו עומד ממי שאינו עומד בדיבורו. So if what the aggrieved party, and if somebody decides to reverse the transaction, whether it's the buyer or the seller decides now I want to back out, the other one can take him to Beis Din, and they will say, look,
Right.
we can't force you to go through this contract transaction, but mishe para, it's like a curse you're putting on the person who doesn't want to go through with this transaction. Okay. Rabbi Shimon Omer, kol she'akesef biyado yado ala elyona. He says, no, actually, the buyer who handed over the money, he doesn't have the right to say, no, give me back my money, because the seller can just say, no, you give me the money, I'll give you the produce. But the seller can say, you know what, I don't want your money anymore. Yeah, you can have it back. So that's Rabbi Shimon's opinion, but this is not the halacha. The halacha is that the buyer also can force the seller to give back his money in Beis Din, but he'll have a misha para on him. Okay, let's go back to Kiddushin.
We have Tet Yud. Someone who went overseas with his wife and then came back with his wife and his children and said that this is the woman who went overseas with him and these are her children, need not bring proof concerning the woman nor concerning the children. If he said she died and these are her children, he must bring proof concerning the children, but he did not bring proof concerning the woman. So he says, I married someone overseas. This is she, and these are her children. He must bring proof concerning the woman, but he must not bring proof concerning the children. If he said she died and these are her children, he must bring proof concerning the woman and the children. A man may not be alone with two women, but one woman may be alone with two men. Reb Shimon says even one man may be alone with two women when his wife is with him. He may sleep with them in an inn because his wife watches him. A man may be alone with his mother or with his daughter, but he may sleep with them with bodily contact. If they grew up, she sleeps in her clothes and he sleeps in his clothes. Okay.
Okay. Tomorrow we finish Kiddushin again and start with Bava Kama.
Bava Kama again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In the Durham we have we have Tess Hay. If they can find grounds to annul a man's neder by reason of his wife's ketubah, if it happened that once a person made a neder prohibiting benefits from his wife and her ketubah was 400 dinars, he came for Rabbi Akiva, who obligated him to pay her ketubah to her. He said to him, Rebbe, father had left the 800 dinars, my brother took 400 and I took 400. Is not enough that she should not take 200 and I 200? Rabbi Akiva said to him, even if you have to sell the hair on your head, you must pay her ketubah to her. He said to him, had I known that this was so, I wouldn't have made the wood neder. Therefore, Rabbi Akiva permitted her. They can find grounds to annul another by reason of festivals of Shabbos. At first, they used to say those days are permitted, but all the other days are forbidden, until Rabbi Akiva came and taught that a neder which has been nullified in part is nullified by its entirety. How, in a case where someone said, "No, I derive benefits from any of you," if one of them is permitted, they are all permitted. When I better benefits from this one and from this one, if the first one is permitted, they are all permitted. If the last one is permitted, the last one is permitted. But all the others are forbidden, as if one in permitted between is permitted from him and down, or permitted from him and up are forbidden. What I benefit from this one is korban, and from this one korban. Grounds to annul each nether as are needed. Okay. If one said corn on wine with respect to my tasting, it is
That's it for
because
that.
one.
That's it.
That was it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Hey Zion. When the first group left, the second group entered. When the second left, the third entered. Like the procedure of the first, so was the procedure of the second and the third. They recited the Hallel. If they finished it, they repeated it, and if the repetition was completed, they would recite it a third time, although they never did recite it the third time. Rabbi Yehuda says the third group never reached as far as I love or Hashem hears, because its people are few. Like its procedure on weekdays, so it was his procedure on the Sabbath, except that the Kohanim rinsed the temple courtyard without the consent of the sages. Rabbi Yehuda said he would fill a cup with the expelled blood and throw it at once upon the altar, but the sages did not agree with him. How did they suspend and flay them? From iron hooks were fixed into the walls and on the pillars, on which they suspended and flayed the Pesach. Anyone for whom there was no room to suspend and flay his animal, there were thin, smooth staves there, which they placed upon the shoulder of his fellow, and so he hung and flayed it. Rabbi Eliezer says that the 14th fell on the Sabbath, he placed his hand on the fellow's shoulder, and the hand of his fellows rested on his shoulder, and thus he suspended it and inflated.
Okay, that's it.
And Nida. Yud Dalin. Regarding a Zava or Anita, a woman who gives birth, and Masora who died, they could make tumah through Misa, until their flesh is clay. But a non-Jew who dies is pure conveying tumah through Misa. And Reb Shammai says all women who die are nidos, but Reb Hill says only one who died when he actually was a nida is a nida. If a woman died and her a rivus of blood flowed from her, the blood conveys tumah as a blood stain, and it contains tumah via a roof. Rabbi Yehuda says it does not convey tumah as a blood stain because it became dislodged after she died. But Rabbi Yehuda agrees in the case of a woman who was sitting on a birthing stool and died, and a rivus of blood flowed from her, that it conveys tumah as a blood stain. Rabbi Yehuda said, therefore, it does not convey tumah via a roof. At first, they said a woman who was observing her days of Toho blood may pour water from for the Pesach offering. They subsequently changed to say, with regard to the Kedoshim, she is like someone touched by one who was rendered tumah by a corpse, in accordance with the words of Beth Hillel. But Reb says she is even like one who himself was rendered tumah by a corpse. Okay. I think we're gonna after this one we have after the next one Zion and we still have then we go on to a new thing.
Yep. Yep. That's right. After this, we go on to Machshirin.
Sharon. Okay. And the
Okay.
last thing I have here is Ket Talin. Ket Dalin. Okay. Ket
Yes.
Kapoor receives 2 shares of his father's property, but he does not receive 2 shares of the mother's property. Neither does he receive 2 shares of the improvement, nor what is fit to become from what is already his possession. Neither does a woman reflect as a tumah from these, nor for the daughter, but nor the daughter for their sustenance. Nor the Yavam. None of them receives from the improvement, nor what is fit to become as what is already his possession. These do not revert in Yovel, the share of the Bakar, the one who inherits his wife, the one who performs Shibud with his brother's wife, and a gift. These are the words of Rebbe Meir. But the sages say a gift is like a sale. Rebbe Elias says they all revert in Yovel. Rebbe Yochanan ben Baruch says one who inherits his wife must return it to the members of the family, and he must deduct from the price they pay. The miser of animals applies within the land of Israel or outside the land when the temple is in existence and when it is not in existence. And if it is taken from ordinary animals but not consecrated ones, he applies to both cattle and flocks. One may not be taken as miser for the other, and to sheep and goats. One which may be taken as miser for each other to both new animals and old ones, but one may not be taken as miser for the other. For it might have been argued that if the new animals were old animals which are not fit to collide with each other may not serve as miser for each other, then is it not logical that sheep and goats which are colliding with each other may purely not be taken as miser for each other? The scripture states in flocks applying that all types of flocks are considered as one. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So also tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so I have to take out
Bava Kama
Wakama tomorrow, and the
and
other one
Machshirin.
is McSharon. Okay, McSharon. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a
Okay,
great
good
day.
day. Bye.